Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose, and I hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope you're all well rested and all that type of jazz, because this week should be a busy and pretty fun week for gamers. Of course, we have one of the biggest showcases later this week being the Game Awards on December 8th, and it's actually sounding pretty nice so far, both in terms of possible games that could show up there, as we do have yet another big PlayStation rumor, as well as it does sound like Jeff Keighley might finally be listening to my biggest complaint with his showcases. Yeah, this might possibly lead to a better viewing experience overall. However, we do also have some big news for Xbox, as the looming and not entirely unexpected price hike is a real thing after all. Now, ironically, it kind of makes Xbox Game Pass look even better than what it already is, and I think that could lessen the blow just a little bit here, but we're going to dive into all of that today, plus plenty more. With all that said though, you know it. Let's just go and jump right into things, starting off with the Callisto protocol. The game has only been out for a mere 3 days, and the response has been, I'll say, a little tepid. Looking around online, it seems like some people just absolutely love this game. It's the Dead Space successor that we were all hoping for, while others are a little bit more mixed on its unique approach to close quarters combat. However, one of the more consistent complaints has been with its performance, especially on Xbox and PC. The Xbox Series version seems to have some type of ray tracing bug where it's just not working, and then the PC version has some serious problems with stutters and things like that. It definitely seems like this game came in a little hot, as it's had some different bugs and issues. See, I use the word hot, but in reality, if we're going to be completely honest here, they wanted to get this game out for those holiday sales. In other words, it might have been a little bit rushed, if we want to be correct about this. Well, the good news here, though, is that Striking Distance is already going full force to fix up some of these problems, as they released some new patches over the weekend addressing PC stutters in specific. That's really great to see. Frame rate issues for all platforms, and crashes as well. Now, don't expect a miracle here. This won't fix every single issue, but it's at the very least a good start to give fans more of that desired performance that we expect to see. Striking Distance, though, did note that they are working on further optimizations in the days ahead, and they did specifically mention that they're looking to address the ray tracing problem on Xbox as well. So, all in all, I mean, it seems like launching games with performance problems have become a lot more common. This is definitely a modern day experience. Ship the game with problems, fix it in later patches, and that seems to be what they're doing with the Callisto protocol. But, you know, that's an issue all on its own. But if you don't mind waiting a little bit, at least we do know some fixes are planned. I do want to hear from you all, though. If you've been playing the Callisto protocol, let me know your experience in the comments below. Let me know if you're enjoying the game yourself. Now, we also got a new interesting story regarding Retro Studios and the Metroid franchise, a franchise that's really near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love this IP, but unfortunately, this is one of those what could have been type of stories, because according to Did You Know Gaming, they were able to uncover a project that never saw the light of day by talking with a former Metroid Prime developer. Now, they posted a big YouTube video about this topic. I do highly encourage you to check it out yourself. It's very well put together, and I will leave a link to that in the description below. But they did report that after Metroid Prime 3 finished up, one of their developers pitched a Metroid Tactics style of game. This was back in late 2007, and it was aimed to release on the Nintendo Wii at the time. And as you can see here, posted up by Nintendo Life, it's described as such. It's basically XCOM. It was XCOM in the Metroid universe, except instead of fighting aliens, you're fighting space pirates, who are also aliens, but different. Now, apparently this was all planned as a prequel when humankind first encountered the Metroids, and you are still going to play as Samus, but also other soldiers as well. Honestly, I'd say on paper, I think it sounds like a pretty interesting idea, especially when you consider that this was all pitched before XCOM even released. XCOM released back in 2012, and again, this all happened in late 2007. Plus, I mean, anytime we get more Metroid, I view that as a great thing. I really feel like Nintendo needs to utilize this IP a little bit more to really expand its reach. But hey, unfortunately, this idea just never got far because upper management rejected the idea and moved on to other games instead. Now, I think it all kind of worked out anyways, though, because, as we all kind of know, Retro Studios put together a couple of great Donkey Kong Country games, another Nintendo franchise that I'd argue is a little underutilized. And they are now working on Metroid again with Prime 4, so we will get that Prime 4 eventually. But there's also a rumor of a Metroid Prime 1 remake. Hopefully that actually does exist. But yeah, let me know what you all think about all of this. Would you have been interested in a Metroid Tactics type of game, or do you like how everything kind of played out in the long run? Let's go and talk about this Xbox situation, though. This doesn't really come off as a major surprise or anything like that, considering Phil Spencer did already kind of allude to this, but this is still a big story. Xbox has now confirmed that they're plunging into $70 games. I know a lot of fans were really hoping that this wasn't going to happen, but this does come from IGN, where they said this: Xbox is preparing to join other major game publishers in raising the prices of its major new first-party titles from $60 to $70. Beginning in 2023, games built for Xbox Series X and S, including Forza Motorsport, Redfall, and Starfield, will cost $70 at launch. While Xbox has noted that regional pricing may differ, it has not yet given specifics for other countries. And if you're wondering why I say that this is confirmed, it's because this next part here that says, this price reflects the content, scale, and technical complexity of these titles, a Microsoft spokesperson told IGN. As with all games developed by our teams at Xbox, they will also be available with Game Pass the same day they launch. So they're trying to lessen that blow a little bit there with Game Pass. We'll get more into that in just a moment. But there you have it. It is now official. After holding the fort for 2 years, Xbox is the next domino to fall. And this is really the publisher that's more than likely going to break the camel's back here. There's no doubt in my mind that going forward, $70 for AAA games will be the new standard from this point forward. Of course, Sony, Take-Two, EA, Krafton just did it with the Callisto Protocol, and the list just kind of goes on and on and on. There's already that shift to $70 games. And the thing is that these games are still seemingly having success. And that's exactly what publishers see. I think when Sony made the move to $70, there was some publishers out there just kind of monitoring the situation, as they didn't want that negative press of being one of the first to move over to $70. So they just kind of waited to see if there would be a significant negative impact. And there just didn't seem to be. So now with Xbox being the second platform maker to make this move, yeah, we're likely going to see this trend bleed over to the rest of the big publishers out there that haven't already. I really wouldn't even be surprised if Nintendo with their next console moves over to $70 as well. I don't think they'll do that with their current Switch hardware. I highly doubt that. But, I mean, maybe with their next platform, we'll definitely see about all of that. But yeah, gamers kind of lost today. I know a lot of people were really hoping that $70 wasn't going to become the new norm, but as many expected, once a few of these publishers made that move, the rest was just kind of inevitable. And that's exactly how this all played out. Now, I will say this much though. Xbox Game Pass just ironically became an even better deal than what it already is. For the time being. And that's important here, but for the time being, they haven't increased the price of Xbox Game Pass. And as long as they don't, I mean, fans are saving even more money by subscribing to Xbox Game Pass. Instead of having to pay that $70 premium price tag for Starfield, Redfall, and Forza 8 next year, well, instead, you can just subscribe to Game Pass for $10 a month or $15 if you want Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So think of it this way. Right now, with games costing $60, if you play 2 of their AAA games in a single year, well, you automatically made Game Pass worth it. But now instead, you'll actually be saving $20 by just playing 2 of their games. And we do know for a fact that Xbox has a stacked, and I mean an absolutely stacked lineup for 2023 and beyond when it comes to their big AAA releases. So yeah, technically, Xbox Game Pass looks even better with this price increase. Now, I think the question with all that, though, is whether or not Microsoft will keep that price tag for Game Pass for the long-term future. It is certainly possible that they'll eventually raise the price for that as well. But if I were to guess, and this is my own personal guess here, but I imagine they won't increase the price of Game Pass until the acquisition of Activision Blizzard is complete. I think they'll hold firm until then, and then after that, we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Now, I could see a scenario, though, in the future where they justify a small increase with just the load of Activision Blizzard games that fans will get, day one, of course. Now, maybe then they might increase the price by a couple dollars a month, but that's all just speculation. All I know and all I can confirm as of this very moment is that as of 2023, Xbox Game Pass just technically became a better deal for 2023. Times are definitely changing though, but I mean, I would say with this news here, as long as this is singular news with nothing else to follow, that we'll see about all that. But this does answer what Phil Spencer was previously alluding to. The price increase that he was referring to is for their first-party games. They are moving over to $70 in 2023. Now, we do also have an update for the Game Awards. Two different things are happening here, so what I'm going to kind of do here is first go over the confirmed news, and then we'll go over another rumored reveal. So, this first part comes in the way of Jeff Keighley, and he let it be known that this year's Game Awards will be significantly shorter to make for a more streamlined experience. Now, he has already stated that they plan to show about 30 to 40 games, so I mean, there's still a lot planned for this showcase, but he went on to say this. We think there's been a little bit of fatigue, yeah, no doubt about that, about how long the show has been. There are lots of games and lots of things that want to be a part of it, but we're cutting back on those things to hopefully have a bit more of a streamlined show. Now, if this does hold up, this is a very, very welcome change. If you all have been watching the channel, you know my biggest complaint with his shows have consistently been, every single time, is that they're bloated. Yeah, he gets a lot of games for these events, no doubt about it, but oftentimes, it's not exactly games that necessarily thrills the audience. I mean, Jeff Keighley, he'll come up on stage, he'll hype up some game announcement, and then the next thing you know, it's just some incredibly niche title. Now, there's nothing wrong with niche titles, but when you have a 3-hour plus long event, yeah, there might be a little bit of a problem here. It just feels like he puts anything and everything in his showcases for the sake of saying, we got all these world premieres. I don't know. To me personally, I think you just need to respect your audience's time. And a 3-hour showcase just isn't doing that. So if he can cut that back to about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at most, I think that that would be a major, major improvement. So I am definitely pleased to hear this update. Now, as for the actual game announcements, though, there is another rumor going around that a big game might be announced for the PlayStation 5 being a Metal Gear Solid remake. Now, there's been rumors of this game's existence for quite a while, but according to this outlet here, which I can't really pronounce, but nonetheless, they claim that a Metal Gear Solid remake is indeed real and might be announced as early as the Game Awards. Now, they, however, did make it crystal clear that this is not confirmed and that you should view this information as nothing more than just a rumor. They did say this. If you want to know my personal opinion, I do not have all with me that the leak is as true as the ones we've had access to on previous occasions. Basically because on other occasions, the information has been much more detailed than now, which makes me wonder if it really will be true this time. However, I have decided to share this information with you because if the announcement is made at the Game Awards and we decide to shut up this information, it will be a shame not to have shared it and a missed opportunity to give an exclusive level. So I do appreciate their honesty here, and just with that in mind, absolutely do take this with a huge, huge grain of salt, as they themselves are not even entirely confident in this one per se. If it does turn out to be true, though, this is what they've heard. They say the game has been in development for several years. Metal Gear Solid Remake would be a game that would only be released on PlayStation 5, so, like Demon's Souls, it would not come to PlayStation 4. There is no data on the study that is working on it or its release date. The announcement would be quote-unquote soon, which covers weeks or months. So, I mean, if anything, this just kind of adds more fuel to the fire that this Metal Gear Solid Remake might actually exist. I mean, I know I personally hope it does, as I am a big fan of this series, and I think that this is a perfect way to keep Metal Gear Solid alive. They might not necessarily have Hideo Kojima anymore, and that does hurt the idea of making a completely new installment. It will be hard to make a new game without him, but with remakes trending upward, I think that this would be the perfect game to remake. Now, this article, however, does only mention it releasing on PlayStation, though, and if that part is true, PlayStation might have nabbed another big third-party exclusive, but I guess we'll see soon enough. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, have you been satisfied with the Xbox Series this generation so far? And as you can see here, 48% of you said yes, 31% of you said somewhat, but they still need to improve, and then 14% of you said no. So the vast majority of you all do seem to be satisfied with the Xbox Series, and it seems like a big portion of that is because of something like Xbox Game Pass. Of course, we just talked about it earlier. It might technically just have became an even better deal. But yes, Xbox Game Pass, it's already viewed as the best deal in gaming. So even though Xbox hasn't really had a load of big first-party exclusives so far this generation, but something like Xbox Game Pass has kind of made up for that because there's just so many interesting and great titles that comes into the service on a monthly basis. And when you combine that with the power of something like the Xbox Series X and all the third-party releases that they get, and their occasional first-party releases as well, I mean, you have things like Halo Infinite, Psychonauts 2, you know, et cetera, there's Grounded, the list goes on and on. When you add all that together, it seems like the Xbox Series X it's definitely made up for the lack of those bigger AAA first-party releases. Now, to be fair, they are looking to release those bigger games in 2023 and beyond, and it'll be really interesting to see how all that plays out once they really start to get the ball rolling. Looking through the comments, though, it seems like pretty much everybody was echoing that sentiment as well. So it seems like everything is just kind of in place. Xbox has good, powerful hardware. They also have the most affordable in the Xbox Series S. They have the backwards compatibility. They have a good subscription service with Game Pass, a great third-party lineup, and now they really just need to kind of hit it home with their first-party lineup going forward. And based off of what we know, it definitely looks like they have some good games planned. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.